He's been part of this morning show for over 30 years at this time, and it's my good friend who always has good sports medicine insight. And that's Dr. Joe Congini, Sports Medicine Center, Akron Children's Hospital. Dr. Joe, good morning, and what do you have for us today?
Good morning, Ray. I didn't realize we're getting into a warm spell here. I was going to say I need a little bit of hot stove from the expert of experts. So I was going to flip the script today, and I'm going to ask the expert of experts on hot stove a couple of questions, and that's Ray Horner. And plus you have all those friends who come on with you, and Bobby DiBiasio and all these people. You have all the inside. So I'm going to get some information from you today, if it's okay, all right?
Whatever you want, my friend.
All right. So we know in Cleveland, we've lived through so much in Cleveland sports, the phenoms that come and go. And with the Cleveland baseball team, the Guardians, we've had several phenoms in sitting, waiting to push forward and really push this team over the top. I mean, we've had a really nice run with the Guardians, the end of Tito, and doing a great job with Vogt. And so we pushed the Yankees a couple of years ago. Last year we won the division. But if some of these phenoms were healthy, and we've talked individually about all three of them, I'm going to ask you which one you think is most in order to help us right away, the soonest. And so let's review them. We've been waiting, again, for these prospects for a long time, and in reading up a little bit on them, you know, again, it's the deal like we said last week. We fell through. We didn't get a chance to fly to Milan. It would have been great for you and I to see that darn game on Sunday. But now I want information from Goodyear, Arizona, from my good friend, the hot stove specialist, Ray Horner. So there's several of our phenoms and prospects that have been injured, but the big three, and in Cleveland fandom, we know their names and their stories. Daniel Espino, number one. Daniel Espino, he injured his shoulder in April of 22. He hasn't thrown an important pitch in 4 years, and he is, I don't know, he must be a great kid. The stories I read about him in the last couple of days preparing for this, everybody loves the kid, but he can't stay healthy, and he did have 2 pretty significant shoulder surgeries, and that's not great for a young pitcher. But in the meantime, I also read that his velocity this year has seemed to come back, and the flopping and maybe up near triple digits, and he's really throwing the ball well again. I know that there's a lot more to being a pitcher than just velocity and things. So Daniel Espino is one guy. Could this be the year for this nice young man to make a mark on our pitching rotation? Number 2, Travis Bazzana. How many number 1 picks have we had in the time with the Cleveland Guardians and Cleveland baseball? Not many in a long time, Ray. I've been through a lot of this. And Travis Bazzana was the number 1 overall pick a couple years ago, correct?
Correct.
So Bazzana is, we heard all the great things about him. And then last year, really a little bit of an inexplicable oblique injury that really lasted a long time. But an oblique is something that in an off season with all the physical therapists and we should really have him being healthy this year. And so good to see yesterday. I'm sure you probably reported on. He hit a 3-run homer, right?
Yeah, yes, he did. The only runs of the game.
But he also took off for Australia to play in the World Games. That makes me a little nervous, just because that maybe separates him from his medical team for a couple of weeks. But but when you're a great player, those things go on. Travis Bazzana should be in position this year. A couple people passed him up, being the number 1 pick. A few other phenoms passed him up, and even Rookie of the Year from the A's. I think his name was Nick Kurtz or something. But this should be Travis Bazzana's year. Number 2. Number 3, Chase DeLauder. I really like this Chase DeLauder story, Ray. I happened to get to be at the playoff game last year. Oh, my gosh, it was this major surprise that we were going to start him in a playoff game, and he really hadn't played during the year, but he'd had the bad hand injury, the one that all Cleveland baseball people have to have. It's a given that you have to have a hook of the hamate injury. We go back with a long record, and you and I have talked about, I think, all of them. Yeah. Cleveland Guardian, Cleveland Indians with hamate injuries. So he was healing his hamate, but we needed him in the playoffs, and he steps to the plate, and it was so cool. The entire stadium is singing "Take Me Home, Country Roads," and he said that when the series was over, he went home and listened to it like 6 times in a row, and he had tears in his eyes of how much this town is pulling for him to be successful. And a hook and a hamate injury would be one that really should get full healing. And so we're really hoping that Chase DeLauder could be somebody that could help. You know, by the way, I hear out of Mets camp that Frankie Lindor is struggling with a hamate injury, and he may not start the season right off. So it would fit. He's an ex-Cleveland baseball player. But Chase DeLauder should hopefully be healthy and ready to go. So with my insider, Ray Horner, I would like to know who of those 3 could help us the soonest, which of those 3 could help us this year, and is there a chance ever for us as Cleveland baseball fans that all 3 of them could help us this year?
Well, I think for today, because I've interviewed 2 of those 3 guys this week here on the morning show, and Daniel Espino is excited to finally get back on the mound and pitch with his buddies and everything, and he does say he feels pretty strong, but you said it right, Joe. Velocity is one thing, pitching is another, and will that shoulder hold up? And did he lose any of that movement on the ball? Because there's been plenty of guys that have been able to chuck it up there and can't get the movement. I think the Guardians will be very patient with Espino. I think they would like to see what they have in Espino later on this season, but there'll be no rush there. With Travis Bazzana, keep in mind, we've got some flexibility and we have some depth in the middle infield. Now, if he goes into the minors at Columbus and knocks the socks off the baseball, they're going to have to try to find a way to get him up. I do know that they want to look at him solely as a second baseman. So if he does force his way up to the big leagues, they're going to play him every day, and that means someone is either struggling, disabled list, or Bazzana is just too good to keep out of the lineup. So they're also going to be patient there. DeLauder is the guy right away that I think has a chance to be the starting left fielder or center fielder on this baseball team. They need some punch in the outfield. I also interviewed him this week. He's excited. He is healthy. He's hitting the ball well. He's a big, strong kid with a left-handed bat. That's why Quan is getting some innings in center field this year, because the thinking is maybe they can move DeLauder, little less pressure on him to go into left field when he would play. But he has the opportunity to be a starting outfielder on this team from day one. So that's the guy I would circle, Joe.
All right. Hey, I knew it. That is an absolute great short, going through it in detail. I love you giving me the update on that. That was awesome. I just would really wish we could get, some good luck. I'll keep an eye on the sports medicine part. We'll be watching to see if any of these things, and from the rehab and from the healing and everything else, what's going on. But it should be a fun season. It's fun to have a little hot stove on a cold week, although we're getting the temperatures coming up later in the week. So thank you. I do want to give you a little update. I've got a topic I want to talk about last week that I just thought about last night, and I'm going to hold it for next week. It comes from one of the most important people I know, and that's my wife. She's been asking me some questions left over from the Olympics, and she's like, why did you not answer this question? So I have a question next week that I want to go through with you. But for this week, those 3 phenoms, we've had some bad luck in the past. Time for some good luck, don't you think?
I agree 100%, especially for those youngsters. And this team certainly built on development, and those 3 guys are real keys, Joe. Good stuff.
Thanks, Ray. Have a great week, okay?
You too, my friend. I'll talk to you next week. Dr. Joe Congini, he's joined us Wednesday mornings on this morning show for over 30 years.